Good day, everyone. We are Group 4, and I am Amelia, the group leader, joined by my team members Kobe Hong, Larissa, Liu Jai, and also Shanupriya. Today, we will be discussing the critical issue of organ harvesting and exploring whether it should be considered as a crime against humanity. Good day, sir. I'm Amelia and I'll be explaining on the introduction. Organ harvesting, particularly when forced, is a form of a modern slavery where individuals' organs are removed and sold them on the black market. With advance in medical procedure, safe transplant techniques, and also improved post-transplant care, organ transplant have become more common. However, the growing demand of organ far exceeded the available supply, creating a dangerous gap. As a result, many desperate individuals are turning to the black market to secure organs which has few criminal activities like forced organ harvesting. This practice is not only illegal but also deeply unethical, raising serious human rights concern. Therefore, serious action should be taken to combat this issue.
Good day everyone, I'm Kobe Hong. Today I will discuss why organ harvesting is a crime against humanity. Firstly, it violates human dignity. Organ harvesting makes people less worthy of respect by using their bodies for profit instead of respecting them as a human being. This practice takes away individuals' of autonomy and their humanity, reducing them to a mere object. Secondly, health and safety risks. Organ harvesting procedures are normally conducted in unregulated, unsafe environments by unqualified individuals. Victims need to endure life-threatening conditions, often facing serious infections and also long-term health issues or even death. They receive no aftercare, leaving them physically and mentally damaged. Thirdly, organ harvesting mostly affects the most vulnerable people like those living in poverty and people from less fortunate backgrounds. These individuals are often taken advantage of because they don't have the resources or power to defend themselves or to fight back. On the other hand, the wealthy people benefit from this illegal trade, which makes the social inequalities even worse. Lastly, extension of human trafficking. Organ harvesting is closely linked to human trafficking, which remains a global crisis. Traffickers exploit on vulnerable individuals, deceiving them with false promises of jobs or also the promises of safety. As was stated under Article 5 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights 1948, no one should be subjected to torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. This article guarantees that every person should be treated with dignity and respect and prohibits any form of abuse and suffering. Organ harvesting directly violates this article by subjecting the victims to cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment. Victims are often coerced or forced into giving up their organs, experiencing intense physical pain and suffering, often without consent or proper medical care. Organ harvesting mainly targets vulnerable groups who don't have the means to fight back. This exploitation goes against Article 5, which protects everyone from harm and ensures their basic rights and dignity are respected. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaur. I'm Liu Jai, and I'll be talking about the role of existing laws in addressing organ harvesting. First, let's talk about the criminalization of organ harvesting. Public international law encourages states to outlaw organ harvesting through national legislation and also international treaties. For instance, the Palermo Protocol, which supplements the United Nations Conventions Against Transnational Organized Crime, obligates states to criminalize human trafficking, including for the purpose of organ removal. Similarly, the Council of Europe Convention Against Trafficking in Human Organs provides specific guidelines for addressing organ harvesting as a crime. These frameworks urge states to harmonize their domestic laws and impose penalties on those involved in illegal organ trade. Next, international law underscores the importance of regulating organ transplantation to prevent illegal practices. Many countries are guided by the World Health Organization's guiding principles to establish legal frameworks to define eligibility criteria for donors and recipients, mandate oversight mechanisms for hospitals and transplant centers, require meticulous record keeping to ensure transparency and accountability. So, these measures are designed to uphold the ethical practices and prevent abuses in the transplantation process. Public international law also focuses on prohibiting organ trafficking explicitly. International agreements, such as the Declaration of Istanbul on organ trafficking and transplant tourism, advocates for voluntary, unpaid organ donations and condemn commercial transactions. These agreements highlight the need for robust enforcement against intermediaries, brokers, and medical professionals involved in illicit trade. Next, organ harvesting is fundamentally a violation of human rights, including the right to life, bodily integrity, and freedom from inhumane treatment. Under instruments like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR, and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, ICCPR, states are obligated to protect these rights. In extreme cases, such as during the armed conflicts, international courts have categorized organ harvesting as a crime against humanity, further reinforcing its gravity under international law. Finally, existing law promotes public awareness campaigns to educate communities about the dangers of illegal organ trade and the benefits of ethical organ donation. It also encourages addressing socio-economic inequalities, which are often the root of cause of exploitation and vulnerability to trafficking. That's all from me, and I'm now passing the floor to Shanupriya.
Thank you, Jai. Good day, sir. I'm Shanupriya Mahindran, and I will be proceeding to present the challenges in proving organ harvesting as crime against humanity. So, first, the nature of organ harvesting is very secretive as it is carried out illegally to gain profits. It becomes a challenge to the international human rights application of law as it lacks evidence against the perpetrators. Most of the time, it's difficult for the law to identify solid shreds of evidences to these activities as it is carried out in larger scale of crime masks. The witnesses to these activities are also disappointingly limited documentation due to the uncertainty of such crimes that took place. Another challenge is the legal framework of the international human rights law. Although the Article 7 of the Rome Statute had mentioned the type of crimes, it did not provide the coverage of organ harvesting crimes, and the reliance on this article that could be void as only the criminal element is dependable but not the interpretation of the types of crimes that it's been stated. Besides, the traditional human rights law is vague in its meaning as it is wide and does not emphasize on the contents of the crime that took place, and it is left to the courts to decide based on the previous cases. Following up is a conflicting sector on the application to the existing prohibition of organ harvesting, which becomes a challenge as the international humanitarian law only limits the restriction towards the armed sectors, while the unarmed sectors are left hanging. This leads to many perpetrators being unaccountable, especially unarmed sectors, as the conflict stands by the nature of void enforcement, resulting in this law being unapplicable to some sectors and perpetrators. Lastly, the challenges includes the political barriers of a state. Most states are governed by their municipal law, and there could be a refusal of cooperation with the international investigations and interference of international law for such activities. Besides, the international human rights law does not uphold the perpetrators responsible for their activities. Especially as mentioned previously, the international humanitarian law passes the prohibition and responsibility for the perpetrators to be liable for such crimes under the non state actors. However, when it comes to state actors or governments' involvement in organ harvesting, the responsibility is exempted by reparation. That's all from me, and I'll pass the floor of presentation to the next person. Thank you.
Good day, sir. My name is Laisa Xavier, and I'll be presenting the next part regarding the suggestions to overcome the issues that we have presented just now. So, firstly, Strengthening international legal frameworks. International legal frameworks inadequately addresses organ harvesting with existing treaties like the United Nations Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime and its protocol, focusing primarily on human trafficking and only lightly referencing organ trafficking. Expanding these treaties to explicitly include organ harvesting is essential to elevate it as an international priority. Similarly, the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court under Article 7 defines crime against humanity but does not explicitly list organ harvesting despite its systematic nature fitting within the framework. Amending Article 7 to include organ harvesting would enhance the ICC's ability to prosecute such crimes. In the case of prosecutor and Akayesu, it demonstrates the importance of proving the organized and systematic nature of crimes, a threshold that systematic organ harvesting targeting marginalized populations could meet. Secondly, improving evidence collection and documentation. To combat organ harvesting, investigators need to be trained in forensic pathology, develop interview protocols, and integrate digital tools for tracking illicit transactions, identifying organ removal indicators. The Palermo Protocols promote investigative capacities for human trafficking and organ harvesting, involving partnership with NGOs like the Coalition to Combat Organ Trafficking. They enhance evidence gathering and whistleblower protections. Advanced forensic tools like DNA matching and imaging help trace harvested organs to victims. Blockchain system promote transparency in organ donation process. The 2008 Kosovo organ trafficking case highlights the importance of robust international court admissibility of evidence. Finally, enhancing victim protection and reporting mechanism. To combat organ harvesting, it's crucial to strengthen victim protection and reporting mechanism. Establishing confidential channels, providing legal representation, and offering psychological and medical care are essential. International witness protection system inspired by the European Convention on the International Validity of Criminal Judgments are vital. The prosecutor and witness case emphasizes the importance of robust witness protection. The UN Basic Principle emphasized reparation as the response to human rights violation, emphasizing the need for comprehensive victim support mechanism. That's all from me. Thank you so much.
In conclusion, organ harvesting is a grave violation of human rights. In many cases, it qualifies as a criminal against humanity due to its several impact on individuals' dignity, autonomy, and right to live. While existing international laws, such as those addressing human trafficking and exploitation, offer some protection, they are often not sufficient to address the specific complexity of organ harvesting. To effectively prevent, prosecute, and end this problem, stronger and more precise legal framework are needed. Additionally, strengthening international cooperation and enforcement is crucial to combat the illegal organ trade and to ensure justice for victims. Thank you.